Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. The ratings are in for both Doctor Who and Batwoman's last night. And with both shows creeping up slightly, it's not actually the good news that you'd think that they'd be hoping for. So let's go into why the ratings going up isn't actually that much of good news for them. So we're going to deal with Dr. Woke first, and Doctor Who's episode last night. I think it was a bit of a smoke and mirror one, as I mentioned in my review yesterday. I think it threw things at you that gave the illusion that you might actually be having fun, but ultimately, not a lot really happened at all. They brought back John Barrowman as Captain. Still, that wasn't a worse faux pas than the one from MSBC. Woo! MSNBC even. John Barrowman was back as Captain Jack Harkness, and we also discovered, it's just stupid even saying it, another Doctor who can't remember the current Doctor, and the current Doctor doesn't know this Doctor, so something's going wibbly wobbly with the timeline, and whatever, who gives a toss right now. But the ratings came in, and it clocked in at a 4.21 in the overnights. That is the third best rating of the 5 episodes so far. However, first and foremost, it's just barely better than episode 3. And secondly, John Barrowman returned as Captain Jack Harkness. This is an established, loved character for... Well, he was started off in the first season, so since 2005. So he's been sporadically in the show for 15 years. Couldn't really pull the ratings up at all. And from what I'm aware, it was leaked. It leaked out. Somebody released it. Before the show that there was going to be an appearance by Captain Jack Harkness. So even that kind of hype didn't generate that much interest for the rest of the show. Now, I think some people enjoyed last night in as much as I think they kind of fell for the shiny tricks. They fell for the, oh, look, it's Captain Jack, and oh, look, it's another Doctor type of business. But ultimately, all that happened is we got two things. One, there's something weird going on with the Doctor's timeline. Number 2, don't trust the lone Cyberman. Don't give them what they want. That is it. In terms of character building, nothing. In terms of development between the Doctor and the companions, nothing. In fact, quite laughably, the opposite. Companions kept vanishing and the Doctor just didn't care at all where they went. Now, you could say, well, maybe she thought they were just off exploring. You have to realise that they were isolated in a small village in Gloucester that was surrounded by a death force field that if you touched it, you'd kill yourself because the Jadoon had cut it off. This wasn't arriving on a space station and going off wandering, having a little look and an explore. This was a potentially lethal situation for everybody, particularly considering the Jadoon were going around literally killing people. Literally vaporizing them in front of others. So the fact that the Doctor didn't seem to give a single toss about where the companions were, what had happened to them, or anything like that, just kind of shows exactly the relationship and the dynamic between this Doctor and the companions. There are too many, they are useless, they are surplus to requirement, and they don't have a true relationship with the Doctor at all because the writers haven't done anything to bond them together one bit. One bit. So, we might see this rating kind of hover around this based off the weirdness. However, if you want to see the Doctor explore time and space, this is not the series to be watching because there's only 5 episodes left. We're halfway through the season. We've barely had any continuation from Spyfall as regards to the destruction of Gallifrey and the timeless child or whatever they called. We had the fact that she met her. I shudder when I say this because the actress was just awful and the way that they portrayed the Doctor was just awful. We had another Doctor who, like I said, whose Gallifrey was fine. So there is something anomaly with the Doctor's timeline. But next week, back on Earth, because there's now 3 harmful, potentially alert situations happening around Earth. So if they decide to deal with them all in next week, there's going to be at least one more episode on Earth. Or, if they're going to deal with one threat at a time, it's going to go between episodes 6, 7, and 8. No time travelling for you. No going in time and space to other planets, other civilizations for you. Sorry, it's time to get back to Earth. So, even though they crept up slightly, it's not all that great. They're still really down, really low. And because we've now got the consolidation numbers from the previous week, as I said, if this was down, it seemed very likely that the consolidation was going to be down. I reckoned it would be just about, I think at 5.1 I guessed it would be. It's actually 5.07. So it's barely holding up above 5 million with consolidation, which means it clocks in everybody that watched Doctor Who within a 7-day period. So consolidation is a very generous thing, shall we say, when it comes to the ratings. So if this clocks in at 4.21, then we're likely looking that it's going to be around 5.3 on consolidation. Or, now that it's come out about Jack Harkness, it'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see the consolidation side of it. Now, as regards to Batwoman's, again, slightly up, but it's not good news, and I'll tell you why. So before Crisis on Infinite Earths, Batwoman was holding just above 1 million viewers. The Crisis rating is an anomaly because it was part of a 5-parter. People were tuning in who wouldn't normally watch Batwoman, and in actual fact, She didn't have too much to do in the whole of the 5-part crossover. I mean, thank goodness. But that rating is an anomaly and really shouldn't be taken into consideration. So the week after, it plunges down to 0.791, way below the 1 million mark, and also below Supergirl, which is after Batwoman. So it wasn't a case of people watched Supergirl and then tuned out. People didn't bother to tune in to watch Batwoman's, then they tuned in to watch Supergirl, which had a slightly higher rating, which is not so good. Now, the speculation by a few parties was it was back off the Christmas break, people probably didn't realise that the show was back, and so there would be a number of people that missed it based off that. Next week, it will actually return back to normality. I understand and appreciate the logic behind that. But here we are, and we are still well below 1 million. So it now looks like Batwoman has definitely shed people midway through the season. People have said, do you know what? This is my jumping off point. And it is an understandable situation to be in. I myself had done that with Discovery Season 1. I was like, I'm going to stick with it till mid-season. We'll see where it goes. I got to mid-season, done. Had enough. Nah, I'm done. Mid-season break, I'm out. I ain't going back to this crap. So I think that's been the case here. So 8.69, we're still 130,000 people off 1 million. And this looks like sub 1 million is now going to be where the show progresses going forward. I also think this was slightly higher than the week before. Not by much, only by, 70, 80,000 because of the nature of the week before. I think there was a morbid curiosity by people to tune into this week based off the way that they conducted the very woke episode of last week. And if you saw this week's episode, they handled it disgracefully. Absolutely disgracefully. So going forward, it's going to be exceedingly interesting considering we're now halfway through this season, to see where we are, let's say at week 17, to see where we are here. Now, there's a 3-week break now for Batwoman, which is not good. Breaks for this show are not good. They lose people. So when it comes back mid-February, I'm going to be very interested to see if it comes back even lower than episode 10. So there we go. They are up slightly, both of them, but it's not actually good news based off what they did to raise the ratings. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.